Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2. Let me introduce the #1 Terran player in the world. In the blue, the kid from Team Liquid. It's Clem. And giving him that nickname despite being slightly younger himself, the fastest player, the Italian Stallion, as his native Zerg. It's Reynor. A best of 5. Terran versus Zerg. A rematch yet again. And just last week we saw one... I still think it's a record. I didn't check every StarCraft game that was ever played, but the most resources lost over a relatively long game. Over 4,200 resources lost per minute, which is more than the average income of everyone in a Bronze League game combined. So, just an impressive amount of destruction between these two players. Just building that many units is an accomplishment. Destroying them is something more. And... well, if you want to see the most dramatic interpretation of TVZ, well, hopefully you'll enjoy this. And Jimmy, what are we... 1,243 likes on this video, on this cast, on this finals. And I'll cast another series. And I'll probably do it anyways. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far. And hopefully these two are about to make it a little bit better. Starting things out on hard lead. Definitely what Clem will be bringing to the table. This map, overall, I think has a bit of a Terran lean, as a Terran bias, a Terran favor, as the terrain itself can be used against the Zerg on a regular basis. It's mostly the rush distance. It's mostly the fact that you can get across the map and challenge the 4th base. That's usually the most important one for Zerg, relatively safely and quickly. And maps like Solaris or even Equilibrium, that is not something you can necessarily do as easily because they're able to lock down the sheer distance between the bases. Tank pushes have made a resurgence as well, as Beyond especially really... if we get past the Reaper and Marine phase, the siege tanks find their time to shine. That's a big if with most players who aren't Reynor or Cyril, but Clem still bullying the queens, making sure they stay on that creep, whereas the Reapers and Hellions can go pretty much everywhere else. And for now, that includes pretty much everywhere else. They're on the way. A very relatively quick layer out of Reynor. Making sure, I imagine, access to Baneling speed, as he hasn't added a Roach Horn or any more gases. One more gas. No Evo chambers. So usually that layer is used to get Baneling speed as quick as possible. Of course, an important part of getting Baneling speed is getting a Baneling nest, so we'll see. Cloak is not done. One of the queens roasted by the Hellions after the Banshee added so much damage. Clem pulls back with it. I think a calculated maneuver there. If he's not going to be going for Banelings, I'm not actually sure what the lair is for this early. If it's not... there's always a Nidus. Another queen assassinated. The Frenchman, an expert at it. And so far, 2 queens, leaving 6 on the field. All right, that's not going to be a small number over time. Overseer. I guess if you're particularly convinced that he's up to some sort of shenanigans. I do think that Baneling nest is a bit late, as rarely do you go... layered just explicitly for Overseers. You can get Overlord speed to cover that. We will see. I guess that's partially 1 for scouting and 1 for defending against the Banshee. I'm sorry, I couldn't keep up with Reynor on that one. But he will have the detection early. He won't be reliant on Spore Crawlers to push it back. But Clem already has 1-1 on the way. Stim pack about to complete. No combat shield. The Medivacs. The Banshees. Well, the Medevac's delayed by the Banshees. But the Banshees on that 4th base. Spire in production. Reynor gonna try MUTAS. Which, a risky business indeed. But one that could definitely pay up. They're a high-risk, high-reward unit. Especially against a player who favors Widowmines as much as Clem does. Which is something of an understatement. To say he favors mines is like saying... I love all my children equally, except the Widowmine is the only child. In this case, every Terran player either lives with it or dies without it. Sometimes you die with it as well, depending on how good the Zerg is at turning it against you. But those Widow Mines have been the slippery backbone of Clem's attack and defense for quite a while. And seems it's really come into its own. And that means the MUTAS, it is the main culprit. The main reason why MUTAS are such a massive risk, as it's specifically designed to help against them. Of course, it doesn't hurt against the ground either. The Widow Mines take out the Banelings. Ends up getting a bunch of Zerglings anyways. MUTAS in production, 10 of them to start things off. Potentially enough to blindside, and importantly, Reynor has no other upgrades. He's just going for Baneling speed and MUTAS. This is effectively a Muta all-in, because eventually Clem's upgrades are going to be so good on the Marines that even if he gets good Baneling connections, the big benefit of the MUTAS is it forces the Marines to clump up. You can't have one or two Marines here or there. You can't have one Widow Mine out on its own, assuming, of course, that Reynor has detection. But there's such a known quantity, and he's going to spot them. Reynor's forced to play defense. Baneling's rolling in. All the Marines dead off camera here. Almost everything else dies as well. Armory is completed, but there is detection. Plenty of Overseers from Reynor to start. I wasn't really criticizing. I was noting it earlier, but clearly they're going to be useful now. The Hellbat's not very helpful against the MUTAS. The Baneling's pretty helpful against everything on the ground. And the MUTAS are able to drive Clem back for now. But the Widow Mines will burrow, and with Drilling Claws almost completed, things are going to get more difficult. Clem has 1-1 done. Reynor's got 1-1 on the way, but the 2-2 upgrades for the bio have already begun. Target firing the MUTAS whenever they come into range. Picks up, gets out, surrounds and kills a mine, splits off, diffuses a Widow Mine, does Reynor. And he's managed to turn this around and keep Clem on the back foot. But again, Clem knows he just needs a critical mass and a good fight. This is a unit composition that could potentially win the game for Reynor, but just as quickly as MUTAS can fly in, the Widow Mines, the Marines, can gun them down or knock them out of the sky. And even Thor's on the way as well. This all comes down to whether Reynor is able to win a fight and carry that momentum towards victory. He's in that situation, a very kind of nostalgic Mutiling Bane composition. He doesn't have an infestation pit. His upgrades are mediocre. Widow Mine's an existential threat. So he's not going to be going to Hive. He's relying on these soon-to-be about 20 MUTAS to clear out everything. The one benefit, and the one thing these MUTAS shut down before it can even start, is drops. Clem is not going to be able to send out one medevac or two to get in those most annoying locations. It's a big risk and very likely not to pay off. But now, Clem is getting his 2-2 upgrades. He's maxed out. There's nowhere else to go. Reynor has 95 drones right now, which is plenty of economy, arguably too much, as his army supply is a bit smaller than Clem's, and without some trickery isn't going to get any further than that. The minefield scattered throughout, 2-2 done. Clem will probably see a bit more hastiness in the attack now that he has those upgrades. I'm sure he noted that he has a potential advantage. Reynor. Oh, the MUTAS! Clem stimmed twice. He was so excited to gun down some MUTAS. And he gets several. MUTAS into the main. They do have +1 attack done. Makes them much more of a threat against those turrets. But 9 MUTAS have died thus far, and Clem has not taken anything but superficial damage back at home. The MUTAS almost pinned back here. Is there a Widow Mine? Oh my god, he almost hard-walled that off. Baneling's trying to roll through. Thor gets surrounded and killed. Big target brought low. And the Widow Mines, not enough to stop the Zerglings from getting in. It looks like he dragged the Marines back from the side, and the MUTAS will be able to escape from the location they were pinned in there. A whole bunch of Lings and Banes. Reynor has a lot of creep spread. Clem has been forced to play a much slower game. Reynor, not slow at all. 600 APM average. Clem only about 415 at the moment. A little slow for him. And the MUTAS, well, the Zerglings take out the mines. Mines do some damage to the medevacs, which the MUTAS could take advantage of later. Reynor does have a hive on the way, and Clem has not really been able to press the issue before hive tech is going to kick in. 3-3. Clem's still trying to maintain that upgrade advantage, and he will. One Whittle Mine making a huge difference here. Oh, and a Baneling Mine! Big hit! Direct hit! Exactly what he needed! And finally, the mines turn the tables, and this time it's the Zerg. Oh no, but the tables have turned yet again as DJ Clem is making sure his base doesn't get dropped easily. The sensor towers are overlapping here. The MUTAS quite severely damaged as they tried to come in and get the damage done, but Clem is out of position. The Banshee's still alive during all this. Oh no, the Whittle Mine hits the Banes. The Banes weren't actually quite in range of the Planetary. He loses a lot of them. Mortlings and Banes into the third. The Deepos are down and the Zerglings get in. Muta's into the main yet again. It looks, with the Overseers, he's able to clear out any mines, or Clem just didn't have any left over. But the Baneling mines are massive here. And now he's put the fear in his heart. Clem has been playing this careful game where he knows he can just sit back, relax, chill. But instead, well, the Bane mines, let's say, does Clem take the bait here? Reynor can't make it too obvious. The scan is easy enough to pull off. And now Clem has to assume every step he takes, there's a Baneling waiting. Just goes right into the Devos, why not? Zerglings looking for an opportunity. But Clem, well, at the end of the day, Clem has lost only 2 SCVs. Reynor has lost 0 drones and 0 bases. So there is that. The SCV count, well, I'm gonna get a few more here. And Clem actually scrambles back with most of his army to deal with the MUTAS. It's been so long since he's had to deal with an actual Mutaball that a bit of a panic here. Target's down another turret. Some of them are softened up by the Zerglings, and speaking of, they get into the third, streaming through. The Thor is lifted up. The MUTAS are melting to the Marines. 16 SCVs down, but Clem is going to be able to replace that quite easily. The MUTAS are thinned out and all but knocked away. I don't think we'll be seeing them again. The last 4 MUTAS. Scans across the board. There are 5 orbital commands right now, so that means he has plenty of scans to work with. Still, a bunch of bio is pinned back by those Mutalisks. A bit of role reversal there. The Changelings preventing Clem from walling off again. Whittlemon takes a hit. But Hydras, Lings, and Banes on the way. And Lurkers. The huge Lurker switch. There's not a ghost on the field. It's not because they're so dramatically cloaked, but instead ghosts are just not a great part of this sort of composition. There's so many Baneling mines. He takes another hit. Bites off 5-6 Marines. Muta's still at the back. High-sec auto-tracking. He actually, does he see it? Yep. He uses 2 scans to make sure he knows exactly how many Mutas are back there. Well, more Baneling mines. Reynor's built up quite a bank, but the gas is about equal. 4 command centers on the way. And now the Lurkers. The minefield. Gonna take some big hits. Gets a lot of the Banelings. Rolling in. Another mine. The orbital softened up, but Clem is able to blunt this attack dramatically. Reynor finds some success over to the right flank. Clem forced to retreat. The Banshee still going. The Lurkers force him to lift up the orbital command, but the Thor, well, without any ghosts here, there are 4 ghosts in production. A Liberator, the Accidental Cyclone. Forget what we named him. But the Accidental Cyclone here, Charlie, again showing up. The Thor's holding the line. The Lurkers, Reynor really trying to keep the momentum in his favor. As Clem, he knows, has ghosts on the way. Zerglings being slaughtered. There's so much happening right now. The Lurker's still underneath. Lines up some snipes. Gets another Lurker. Orbital? Well, not so orbital. He knocked out the orbital, but another command center ready to land momentarily. Reynor still has money in the bank. Clem, he's tapped out right now. He lost several of his Thors. He's lost a lot of Whittle Mines. His Medevacs are actually entirely out of energy. He might want to consider Caduceus Reactor. Well, I'm surprised he didn't queue it up after Advanced Ballistics. Advanced Ballistics is done, by the way. There is that Spire with +2 flyer attack, so Corruptors could be better off than usual to start things off here. Command Center forced to lift. Another attack over to the right flank. There are, well, actually not that many Zerglings on the field. A lot of the supply is in Banelings, is in Hydras, is in Lurkers. Just barely gets the planetary. Building armor is done. Reynor, he's been in this position before, where he's so close to just outright breaking Clem. But Clem is starting to build that army. Saves a few of the ghosts. One gets clawed to death. Another melted. Thor taken out as well. The MUTAS, the one Muta, the one survivor. He throws a contaminate onto the starports. Will prevent some of that Liberator production. Hydra's over to the right flank. Another orbital coming up. They seem to be endless. How many does he have left? 7. They're effectively endless at this point. Caduceus Reactor would be a massive help. Clem down to 130 supply, but his army supply is still pretty comparable. God, that orbital is taking no damage. He has no ranged attack upgrades, and it shows. God, oh my god. How many Hydra spines does it take to get to the middle of an upgraded orbital command? Like several hundred. Here come a bunch more Zerglings. They're still mined, Ghosts and Liberators. We've cut the wheat from the chaff here. Only a handful of Marines and Marauders remain. And Reynor is lining up. He's maintained the momentum throughout this entire game. Clem has not been able to bounce back and do any of his characteristic multi-pronged pressure. But he does have about as close to a death ball as you're going to get. The army supplies are actually slightly in favor of the Frenchmen. And Reynor must weather one big attack, or at least deal with this army at least one time in order to claim victory. Reynor still has the economy, he still has the bases, he still has the supply. The Muta! Take a select all army hotkey there, but mostly focus at the front. The Ghost will fall back. Drilling Claws, EMP on the Viper. More Widow Mines. Not finding the big connections on the Banes, though. Ghost falling back again. Orbital ready to step in as that planetary goes down. Advanced Ballistics Liberator. Transfuses keeping it together. Kills a couple Queens. And this is about as good as it's going to get for Clem. He's starting to bleed out on bases. There are 2 Infestors on the way as Reynor admits that he's going to need to hold those units down in order to knock them out. A few Marines at the front. As soon as the Baneling count dwindles, though, Clem can easily turn and snipe. So that is what Reynor is fighting against. He's trying to make sure the Ghosts never get that opportunity because the units will murder them. Missile attacks level 1 is finally completed. Those Hydras will do some actual damage. Few Widow Mines trying to drag them into the Ghost. Kind of succeeds. Snipes turn it around. There's a couple Lurkers in the mix here. Another Lurker is coming up. Just the one, though. Gonna need... Oh, the Banelings coming in. The Ghosts are mostly surviving. But a single Lurker. Does he have any scans? He's down to 6 orbitals. The Infestors are spotted, but the EMPs don't land. Throws out a few more. Still has the energy. Those Infestors are everything. A scan to get rid of the orbital over here. And now, still no Caduceus Reactor for the Medivacs. Still no repair for them either. And the Infestors are coming up. If he could just catch those Ghosts one time, that's a game-winning move. An EMP, but it's too late. And the Ghosts are caught. He's going to try to retreat, but I think he lost the critical mass of Ghosts. And here come 5 Lurkers. Reynor got the fungal, and he turns it around. Oh, it was starting to look a little dicey, but Reynor just kept him off balance, and it only cost him 650 Zerglings. I don't know how many Banelings actually managed to attack before they died. 30 brave Mutalisks. 5 Thors, 48 Widow Mines. Reynor, it doesn't have to be cost-effective. It just has to be effective. So he reached into the spawning pool, and he pulled out every Zergling he could. At the end of the game, he had less than 1,000 minerals left. Reynor does not like that sort of turtly back and forth. Well, not really back and forth, but kind of stalemate late game. He wants to kill you. And he managed to pull it off. The Mutas did enough. I think they worked out. I don't think Hydras would have had the same effect. I think Clem clearly caught off guard somewhat by the MUTAS as well. So they had the opportunity to get the damage done, which a rare but welcome sight, at least for the Zergs out there. But that brings us into game number 2 on Equilibrium. We'll see if Clem can bring us to Equilibrium, or if he'll be left even less so by the end. Nothing particularly untoward. Standard one hatch expand. That's what it. Just saying words out there. Caster filler. All right. Just read the production tab. All right. We got a couple queens, command center, marine after the Reaper, which is because you want a factory beforehand, and then when the marine finishes, you build a reactor, which is a few seconds less than the factory. So that way it all lines up, and you get a reactored factory in a timely manner, but you still have a marine in case you need to poke at overlords or have a little extra defense. Almost able to block out. The SCV will block the third. Clem's Reaper being as annoying as possible and then pushing the boundaries of it. Even does a little bounce. Oh my god, he physically blocked him. No. Stiff arms the drone. Or actually just like grabbed them. It was so close with that jetpack. Wow. Hardcore. Well, the Queen's Reynor just settles for the alternative third. This one a bit more vulnerable to tank pushes. Now the one towards the main is vulnerable to things like drops, but if you can cover this angle towards the north side, you can defend multiple bases. It does seem most Zergs prefer the triangle base rather than something on the outside where Clem could potentially use many of these locations to stage an attack. Queens, unhappy about the Reaper, but can't do much about it. They get too much joint pain off the creep. Don't we all? Hellions show up. Quick stim out of Clem. It's going to be a 3-2-1-1. The advanced economic version of the 2 medevac stim push. He threw a couple Hellions in just to make it look good. But Clem releasing his inner beyond here. As he's just going straight for the Marines. The Hellions are only just a nod towards the fact that he could go Banshee. But Reynor, oh, beautiful grenade actually, but it's not going to be enough. Actually just gives up on the Hellion. So Reynor probably expecting more Hellions. It's going to get a little suspicious when more Hellions don't show up, actually. Reynor already at 47 drones and adding more, which to me means he doesn't suspect this timing, as that is definitely on the greedier side if he knew it was going to be this many Marines. Yeah. Oh, does this supply block him? For a very short time, but still. Wow, he's actually adding more drones? Okay, well, he's more confident in his defense than I am, which, you know, I think he knows a bit better, so I'll give him that. Lair is on the way. Baneling Nest lined up with it this time. Double medevac headed out. Plenty of Marines. They're just going to have stim. +1 in combat shield. Gonna be a little further behind this time. He's got Zerglings on the way. Zergling counterattack. Well timed. As we saw against Dark. Clem quite vulnerable to... Oh no! Oh, this is disastrous. No, coming back... Clem just... Reynor's counterattacks, whether it's with MUTAS or Zerglings. No, coming back and losing that entire round of Zerglings of time. That is a lot of time that Reynor just bought himself. That was the difference between the Marines showing up with like a dozen Zerglings and 30-something. Exactly 30, actually. 10 queens as well. The Lings, the SCVs are forced to fight. The Marines, Queen's already on top of it with plenty of energy here. They don't have +1, so they can't cut through that base armor on the Queens nearly as easily. Yeah, the Transfuse is holding it together. No momentum gained and 6 SCVs lost. Though Clem has been quite diligent about SCV production. He's only 6 down. No further lair tech besides the Baneling speed so far. As Reynor, very focused on making sure he has enough Lings and Banes. Drop heads towards the main. Going to be just mines here. No mutas to deal with. Lings and Banes, though. He just shot a Marine. Bill. It was a changeling. He looked like a changeling. That's the point! What's done is done. All right. Baneling speed is done. 5 Baneling counter. Marines, not enough to deal with the Queens now. Baneling's rolling in at this exact moment. Clem! Clem! Hello! Loses 5 SCVs. Oh my. Now, Reynor only has 59 drones. He has been entirely and singularly focused on making so many... Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. The Widowmine manages to burrow with its back up against the wall. And into the main. So, Reynor doesn't have very many drones. He has focus... Oh my. Reynor dodging Widowmine hits, but he actually can't detect them, so... Not mining here. Clem just bought himself a lot of space. More Banelings coming in. He lifts the orbital instead of lowering the depots, which is certainly a choice. Trapped in a prison of his own design, the SCVs will be slaughtered. So both players, the workers, are having a real tough... Oh, no, my god. Oh, that was close. Both sides, very close, but the Spore Crawler finishes just in time. There's no detection down here yet. Overseer finishes, but Reynor... and they don't stop coming. The Banelings roll it again! 23! And the Queens are getting gunned down, though. Oh my god, it's a bloodbath. The Queens will not be able to deal with this. The Queens will fall, but at the same time, the Zerglings make it across the map. The Marines gunning down Zergling, trying to find an angle, but he's got the gold base running. The Zerglings have overrun the third. There's no detection on the other side, though. The Widowmines are recharging. Drops into the back. There are 4 Queens. There's 135 Zerglings on the field and counting. And up and down. Pretty simultaneously at the moment. 139. Popping out even more. Can we hit 150? Nearly. And he's only at 142 supply. I mean, we get 2 apiece. Meanwhile, the Marines still trying to come out. What's over there? Single Widowmine. Reynor, 55 versus 56 workers. Oh no, the Widowmines splits off, deals with it. One more mine. Not gonna be the hit he wants. But more mines in production. It looks like Clem might try to get one of those juicy hits here. Meanwhile, the Zerglings, the Banelings are rolling in. The mines are already burrowed. He unburrows, but here come the Banelings. Meanwhile, drops onto the high ground. Banelings crash into the mines and actually will be exhausted there. Oh, another big hit to the low ground. And the mines are dealing plenty of damage. Reynor losing so many Zerglings. The ZPM is off the charts right now. He's building like 20, so far an average of over 20 Zerglings per minute. But it's not enough. The Marines actually get cleaned up. Is Clem looking the other way? Clem is, well, the income goes back towards Reynor as he's able to stabilize on the gold base. And now, whatever Marines he was able to put together, I guess he didn't have boost for both medevacs. Tries to target down another one, transfuse, pat each other on the back, but the Queen's gonna get gunned down. The Queen count, still at 5. Oh, so far, 11 Queens killed, and 197 Zerglings in 11 minutes. The army is mostly mines. He's got the M&M, the Marines, the Marauders, and the mines, but So far, the mine's the only one seeming to pull their weight. Not too hard. They're not a very large unit. More queens gunned down. +2, +1 for Clem. 2-2 done for Reynor on his Zerglings. But here come the Marines again. More mines. And there's no wall. The Zerglings will get in. But if he's able to draw the hit in, the Bane's cleaned up. And more Marines into the third. Another queen dead. Zerglings in the natural. Carnage, butchery, massacre. Another mine manually detonates the Banelings. And Overseer comes in. 25 SCVs dead. Excuse me, what? Between the SCVs fighting here. No, one more time. I'm sorry. I didn't process that. He brought... I didn't register it. Clem didn't register it. He brought Banelings in from the north side simultaneously, and those did the real damage. Meanwhile, more mines. SCVs slaughtered on both sides. Clem suddenly down to 28 workers. Reynor still sitting on 66, but now he's going to have the awkward problem of running out of larvae. Well, I guess with the amount of drones, he's forced to rebuild. And the positioning is just devastating. The Marines hold their ground and they gun down the Zerg. How many? I don't know at this point. And Widow Mine's triggered again. An absolutely bloodthirsty game. And going for the queen, there's no more anti-air picks up. Oh my god. More Widow Mines, Marines, and they just can't stop attacking. Marines left on the field. The medevac count can't keep up. He's got 10 medevacs and 17 Marines. A medevacs for all policy from Clem, but only because he's lost so many Marines. Queen Burrows? Burrows done? I guess that could be relevant as time goes on. Baneling Mine's definitely a threat, but the Marines finally going to get cleaned up. The medevac was taken down. Mine's still scattered throughout the field. More Zerglings burrowed. He gets a scan off. A single Zergling burrowed inside of his third. He was actually trying to morph Banelings there. Are you kidding me? Clem hasn't done a great job of keeping up with the Banelings throughout, but Widowmine takes out another queen. He's just been continually producing queens. 17 queens dead. The positioning, absolutely devastating here, but at least the high ground can hit. Doesn't get a transfuse. More Zerglings coming in. The Marine stutter stepping forward. And all the medevacs for just these Marines over here. Lets the Widowmine take a hit. There's another one. He's looking for more. But the Banelings roll in just in time. More Widow Mines. Zerglings burrowed in the third base. Mines scattered throughout the map. Zerglings unburrowed yet again. Oh my god. He's burrowed Banelings where Clem wants to drop. How many mines are on the field? 16, 25 Marines. Dims into the third or fourth or whatever the hell base this is. And Queen's down from the high ground. Mines from downtown. Obliterates the Zerglings. Guns down the Queens. Banelings took out 15 more SCVs simultaneously. And the medevac count still high, but everything else struggling. He manages to pick up and get out with the mines. Clem, almost no workers left. But Reynor can't seem to keep his Zerglings alive. 400 Zerglings dead. Sorry, 440. Another set. The Marines needs the detection. I don't know, the Overseers are the real MVPs. Trying to keep it together. Another mine. He's trying to drag it into the medevacs. It's not gonna work. More Zerglings coming in. This Marine's trickling across the map. He's parade pushing, but the parade is like 6 people. It's super sad. Another mine going to burrow. Overseer finally coming in. The medevacs themselves vulnerable. But fireworks everywhere. Zerg just continually dying. Takes out every single one. Scans to get rid of the creep. More Marines in the main. 3 medevacs with nearly a medevac of HP between them. Meanwhile, Overlords, slow Overlords in the middle of the map. Those are changelings. All right, stressing me out. They're Baneling mines trying to predict where the drops are going to go, but the Marines get behind. He actually might. Oh, did he dodge the Bane mine? Kind of. Meanwhile, the queens! How many queens? There's still 6 queens. The Slovies going to work. The hatch died. What's left? They're still at 100 supply. Oh my god, the queen's holding it together. They're finally able to slap enough transfuses in. Clem has +3. Reynor has been making Zerglings. He lost 500 Zerglings in 15 minutes. Meanwhile, Morlings and Banes. Widow Mines. Oh, that's a big one. But there's not that much left over for Clem. Widow Mines take out a medevac. Because the Zerglings aren't going to do it. He actually just attack moves and detonates through more Widow... Oh, Clem didn't even notice that one. Clem's up 15 supply after everything is said and done. What a devastating game for both sides. What the hell did those banelings come from? I keep missing it. Did he burrow them, or was I just not paying attention? Well, clearly Clem caught off guard as well. Somehow Marines got back here. Reynor down to 43 drones. I think they just rolled in and Clem just wasn't ready. Yep. Clem just not paying attention. Gets blindsided by the Banes. And, well, Overseer's on the way across. Overlord speed probably would have paid off with dividends. The main command center is floating over to the gold here. A single Liberator only has 1 kill. The gold base has actually managed to mine throughout most of this. Speaking of mining. Oh, no. The Liberator takes out a queen. The rest take it out from the top. 24 queens and 600 Zerglings. My god. Reynor truly fighting a war of attrition. And he just doesn't have the army for it. Well, the Widowmine actually took out some medevacs there, so that might help. Clem is down to 5. He hasn't been building any for a while. He's never had enough Marines to deal with it. More Banelings. Clem down to nearly the SCV count he started with. There's still 2 Banes burrowed. More Zerglings coming in. There just aren't that many units here. The Zerglings tries to dodge with the Widowmine. Will die with it instead. More mines at the back. Still mines at the front. Right now, Reynor is playing Minesweeper, whereas Clem is just playing Starship Troopers. The SCV count. Actually, Clem doesn't have any Marines. He does have 18 Widow Mines. Are you kidding me? But there's literally nothing left to shoot after the mines fight. Well, has Clem survived? I mean, has Reynor done it? This game made me feel some things. Well, if you simply eliminate every other unit, it's not about who wins, it's about who's left. And it seems Clem has 4 SCVs. My god. He killed his own changelings. Well, that's some very odd collateral damage, isn't it? Oh my. He's just trying to lead him into the mines. There's no detection here. The worst breadcrumbs. At this point, like... My god, it's just a trail of Zerg tears. Well, Clem should be dead. But Reynor does actually have to clean up these mines. And there's a chance that the mules could kick in time. Oh no. Oh no. No. Oh my. Oh no. 5 SCVs. But he's repairing with 1 because he doesn't want to waste too much income repair. He burrowed 1 Bane. Uses a scan, which is a significant potential portion of his economy. Reynor survives. What did he see? What did Clem see? He saw him split the Zerglings and clean up the mine. There's no more mining. Of all the games I have ever seen, that was certainly one of them. 755 Zerglings. I have to pay respects. It's not over. But I feel like we just gotta take a moment after that one. Well, match point to Reynor. A hard fought on the mountain of Zergling corpses. The sheer biomass required. Clearly. Reynor's Red Army. Alright. I don't know if I can do that again. Well, we'll see. Two racks. Gonna go back to the Reapers. Widow mines are... Clem is a big fan. Though, they do have a tendency... You can't just have one. Alright. The addiction begins. And who knows where it ends. At some point, you find yourself with 12 medevacs, 0 marines, and 16 widow mines. And you wonder how you ended up there. As you look over the mountain of marine and Zergling corpses of their remains, and you see underneath several mines burrowed, you wonder, maybe, are we the bad guys? And then you just go for Reapers, and you feel better about yourself. It's just 2 racks. It's not the 3 racks all in. But just 3 Reapers. I'm still recovering. I don't know how Reynor feels after that one. That is one of the most Pyrrhic victories I've ever seen. Zerglings. You may lose one. Well, finally. But, of course, the Reaper's splitting the difference at the natural. Queen, bounce back. Get back over there. Speed about to complete. Reynor should know. Well, actually, did he see the command center? He didn't see the CC timing. Nor the factory. It's going to be Cyclones to follow it up, actually. So, playing it relatively safe. Taking that later third instead. Cyclones. An interesting choice. He's going to go with Cyclones. Kind of a queen killer push is what this is. Adding some Hellions behind. Just Cyclone Hellion. There's no starport here. So quite an odd composition. We'll see if he adds an armory behind it. There's the starport. The Reapers likely to get caught and killed here. Though the grenade's going to make things difficult. Snipes off one Zergling. Actually rearranges the Reapers to make sure the others aren't as vulnerable. And the Cyclones out there, things getting a little dicey, though. The Zerglings were already counterattacking. Reynor gets the wraparound. And without the Hellions to back up the Cyclones, the kind of janky stutter step you gotta do is still not gonna be enough. Rallies out the Marines, but the Cyclones are already dead. Reynor again. Clem getting caught by these Zerglings, left, right, and center. And I think, so far in this series, and generally we've learned, do not let Clem go quietly into the later game. Don't let him get his drop started. Don't let him get anything going. I think the MUTAS were a much better choice. Despite their vulnerability to mines, at least they can prevent the drops, and they can shut it down. And so far, the Zerglings have done the same with that early factory play. A little cute move, splits off a couple rings, minimizing damage. Clem, of course, microing every possible bit, but Reynor should be able... Oh my god.
What a save!
Saves the Hellions. Hello? The doors are closing, and your flight is now leaving. Please, get in the plane. Clem. Boosting past. The Queens. Brenda! Stay on the creep! Karen, how many damn times? I don't care! Oh, you know how many of us died to Widowmaker? I'm sorry. Blacked out for a moment. Gets the 4th base. Guns down 1 queen, going for more. And Clem off to a good start with a medevac drop. Takes out another queen. Medevac, not half HP. I'm gonna get out and boost towards the main. No +1 at the moment, and the queens, no boost. And that means the medevac's get away for now. One on the way. +1 Carapace notably done for Reynor, which isn't going to help against the mines, which are of course here, but instead very helpful against the Marines, especially when they don't have their upgrades. Much more likely to be able to get us around. There's the 2 Hellions from earlier, going to slow this down dramatically, but again, Reynor is able to force Clem to bring pretty much all his units back. Some of the Zerglings are going to be trapped here. Ooh, actually slips through. Not quite a wall. SCV will fix that even before finishing the other depot, but 1-1 on the way. For both sides. Actually completed for both sides, to be clear. And Clem with a solid army. Reynor getting Burrow in quite a timely manner yet again. He's going to have the +2 advantage as well. Assuming we get to that point. Another massive Ling Bang counter. The Burrow, I love that. I'd love it even more if the medevac didn't accidentally fly over it. But here comes Clem, attacking both sides again. Reynor swings in with a massive, unscouted counterattack. Almost finds the opportunity with the Zerglings. The Widowmine slammed the point home, but 29 SCVs are already dead. More Baelings rolling in while Clem's microing on the other side. And this time around, Reynor's able to burrow underneath the 3rd. Feels like he's truly adapted here. And Clem struggling. Down goes another queen. The counterattacks are on point here. And Clem losing so much economy yet again, but Reynor has 65 drones. He can keep it together here. The fact that Clem had to scan for his 3rd is a bit ridiculous. This is the most obvious bait, but I think he's gonna fall for it anyways. Yeah, come on. Oh, but the Widowmine catches him on the way out. Clem has to make something happen now. Reynor's already finished his +2 Carapace. That mass Zergling style. Clem trying to line up those shots. Another drop shut down by the Queens. And another Baneling mine! And Reynor takes it. He turns the mines against him and finally gives... Wow, it was right in his face, but he masked it well enough. GG. Reynor in one of the hardest fought 3-0s. That was anything but clean, but it was indeed a sweep. Well, Clem just not keeping up with the counterattacks. Reynor able to run around him, through him, and trip over the bodies of his fellow Zerglings in order to achieve victory. It was not easy. It was not quick. It was painful. It was a slaughterhouse, but it's Reynor's slaughterhouse to preside over at the end. So he comes away with a 3-0 victory. I'm sure there will be some strong feelings about this one. I know I have some. But hopefully, one way or another, it made your day a little bit better. Thank you for watching. If you got the means of motivation, awesome, and check out Patreon. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free. That's the bit we're doing. And checking out the second channel for more content, streams, gameplay from other games, Stormgate, Zero Space, or recommended and autoplay, very helpful. Either way, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Good luck, have fun. Stay chill, and check under your bed for widow mines.